Hey Wargamers! Welcome back. Purple Druid presents Wargame Culture, and today, turn 7, Chainmail, play by post. Very excited. I have a feeling that things are going to get really exciting in this turn. I have not yet reviewed the orders, so let's do that first. For the green army on the north side of the table, the skirmishers are going to charge the armored infantry right there. The western archers will move as close to the skirmish rear as movement allows, wrap into melee on the western flank of the armored infantry. Oh boy, that's going to be cool. All right, let's make a little room for them over here. Push this back. I know these are the points. We're keeping points for casualties and prisoners. All right, heavy infantry will charge the western red skirmish line. Right there. Oh boy, here we go. Armored infantry, 6-inch advance, screening the archers' flanks. That's going to be right here. We'll force a casualty check to all units within 6 inches. Wrap into combat with archers if within 3 inches. And archers are in combat. Eastern archers will charge the heavy horse right there. And that's exciting. All right, so that being said, the superhero, yes, he causes a morale check as though units within 6 inches had suffered excess casualties. I am going to put this on pause and pull up that rule so that I can be sure as to when that takes place, because I'm not sure when you need to make that check. Is it at the beginning of the turn? Is it when they move into charge range? Because technically speaking, if they just move and they're not in charge range for the rest of the turn, would those units have to make a check? So that's something to think about. Okay, for the yellow army on the south side of the table. All right, we have, what's going on? What do we got here? The armored infantry is going to charge the skirmishers. So we have a charge counter-charge right there. The composite bowmen will move up to fire indirectly at the heavy foot. That's these fellas here. They're going to fire onto them. Western 4 blocks of skirmishers. These here. Fire at the remaining skirmishers in the center. Well, they aren't really here. They're going to come off the table because they have fled. Fall back half a move if the heavy infantry attempt to enter charge range. So what we're going to do is they're going to fall back a half move and then shoot at the heavy infantry. That's what's going to happen. The 5 blocks of skirmishers right here, screening the heavy infantry, will fire at will on the armored infantry, that unit right there. The most northern block moves back 3 inches in order to stay out of charge range. So they're going to fall back a little bit. The heavy infantry is going to stand their ground. The heavy cavalry are going to charge the light infantry in the east in order to not draw in the armored infantry. Well, that's something we need to discuss also. Because I'm going to say right now that if these 2 units are in combat, anybody within 3 inches of the unit itself, so like right here, if they were in combat right now, this unit would be able to be drawn in. Medium cavalry right here, they are going to stay put and rest. The crossbows here are going to move northwest in the wake of the cavalry charge and start plinking at the armored infantry. And the heroes and superhero will rejoin their units. Okay, so that's easily enough said for here. However, if they're charging there, then this hero will have to charge as well to join the combat. Or if they want to, they can move and join this unit if this unit stays put, and then they can charge the next turn. But they're not going to be able to join that unit and then charge. That's just, yeah, that's not something we can do. So, all right, let's go back to the green. And these two units are charging each other. So, I'm just going to split the difference, and that is where that's going to happen. They are 4 inches apart. So I'll move, and these are fatigued, keep that in mind. So they're going to be fighting at a reduced level. So I'll move them up 2 inches. And I'll move them up 2 inches. And they will be in combat. So let's put a die there for melee. The Western Archers. Okay, so what we're going to do is they are within 3 inches, so I'm going to allow them to wrap into combat. So they're going to move up here. And they'll be able to move up and around to the side. Now, this light infantry, they can move 9 inches, and they're going to move on an oblique. Like so, which will put that corner right here. And then when the melee comes around, they will be able to be drawn into that combat. Okay. The heavy infantry are going to charge the skirmish line here. But, as we saw for the yellow orders, this line infantry is going to move up. We're going to move a half move. We're going to go 6 inches. And then this one is going to move back 3 inches. And they're declaring a charge. Now, heavy infantry charge at 12. So they will definitely be able to charge these, all 3 of these are in range. This one is not. So they're going to fall back a half move. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to say these guys can move back 6 inches here. They're going to get a, I don't want to forget that. All right, so this unit will fall back 6 inches. And get a fatigue marker. This unit will fall back 6 inches. And get a fatigue marker. This unit they got a fatigue marker, they move forward. This unit fall back 6 inches. Get a fatigue marker. And then this unit can fall back 6 inches, but they have to stop 1 inch. Just hit those away from them. So we're going to put them there. And then we have a charge, which they can make. So we're going to move them 6 inches. And then we can do pass-through fire. And then they'll complete their charge. So we'll put pass-through fire on them. He's going to rejoin this unit, which is going to stay put. So the superhero only is going to have 3 fatigue markers. And this one's going to fall back 3 inches. And they are going to turn so that they can fire on the heavy infantry. They're going to get a fatigue marker. These are going to go away because they're not moving. They moved back, so they will get an additional fatigue marker. And they're not moving, so they're going to go away. Okay, the heavy infantry is going to stand their ground. The medium cavalry is going to rest. So we'll take away their fatigue markers. He's going to join them. So he will have 3 fatigue markers. And they're going to move forward, so they'll have 1. They can move forward 6. Okay. Let's go back to green. The heavy infantry is going to charge. Let's do our pass-through fire right now. So 12 can fire indirectly at the heavies because those skirmishers are in front of them. So that will be 1 or 2 on a 5 or 6. That's a 5. So 2 are going to fall. complete. There. Did I do that right? Because there's 16 of them, aren't there? 16. 4, 4, 4, 4 is 16. That will be 2 or 3. So 3 casualties there. Sorry about that. All right, now for 6 inches, they will be in combat. So we'll put a die there. The armored infantry, 6-inch advance, screening the archer's flank. Right there. Actually, I'm going to move them back 3 because we have to do a little thing here. We have charges and counter charges going on. All right, so that's 3. They've moved half. I'm going to give them a half counter. And then yellow. Heavy infantry is standing still. The heroes have rejoined the unit. The medium cav is standing still. So I'm going to take that off, but they're facing that direction. Heavy cavalry are going to charge the light infantry in the east, staying to the east. And these light infantry are going to charge these heavy horse. So we're going to put them together in the middle also. Okay. So this is how we're going to handle that. Okay. The light infantry can charge 12. The heavy horse can charge 18. So that's 3 to 2. Because this matters. There are 9 inches in between them. So for every 2 inches that the infantry charges, the cavalry will charge 3. So they charge 4 and they charge 6. So at the 3.5 mark is where they're going to meet. So let me move. Let's do this. I'll move this guy up to here. And then I'm going to move these guys up to here. Okay, so that's where the line of the line of scrimmage will be. Okay. And actually, I need to move these guys back because I'm not supposed to lap around until after the first round of melee combat has been fought. Now, for the yellow, they are going to fire at the armored infantry. 3 of them can fire directly. 4 of them can fire directly, so that's 16. And 4 can fire indirectly. But they're armored, so the indirect fire they can't do. However, the 16 versus fully armored is 2 or 3 casualties. So they will take their pass-through fire first. And that's a 4, so that'll be 2 casualties. And then we're going to finish their move. They're going to move 3 more inches forward. An oblique. They've done their move. All right, so now it's time for missile fire. They have done pass-through fire and moved. I'm sorry. These have moved and done pass-through fire, so they don't get to shoot again. This one, 2, 3 have not moved, so they may fire again. So that is 12 direct fire at the armored infantry, and that is a 1 or a 2. So let's see what we got. 1 more. Okay. Now I'm going to hit pause and I'm going to double check that rule, because now we have guys within 6 inches. So stand by. Okay, so here's the rule, everybody. When a superhero approaches within his charge movement of the enemy, all such units must check morale as if they had taken excess casualties. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. So each of these skirmisher units that is within 6 inches of him will have to make a check. This medium cavalry will have to make a check. And this heavy cavalry will have to make a check if they are within 6 inches. So they are not. They are. That one is. So this is the only one that has to make a morale check. Light infantry needs an 8 or better on 2 dice. And that is a 7. So any unit that fails to make the required score is removed from play immediately unless no route of retreat is open to it. Well, you know what? I'm going to remove them simply because they can flee around those. So these skirmishers are out. Now, the medium cavalry, they are also within 6. And medium horse need a 7. that's 4. So the medium cavalry will also be removed. And because they were standing still, that's the only thing. I do need to make a morale check, however, for this unit, for the charge. So we'll do that before we get to the melee. Because that's supposed to happen at the halfway point, which, technically speaking, is where we are now. So we're going to remove the medium cavalry. And I'll just leave that. I'll just leave that movement tray on there. And now for the light infantry, they need to make a morale check versus the charge. Heavy cavalry versus light foot, they need a 10. They need a 10 to withstand this charge. However, they get to add +1 to their score because they're charging. And they have a 9, +1 is a 10, and they'll get another +1 because they're within 12 inches of their superhero commander. So they make their morale check, and they'll be able to fight in the melee. All right, so that's another melee we have right there. So we have 3 melees to take care of. So let's start in the west and then make our way to the east. First of all, we have light infantry versus armored infantry. And on page 40, light foot versus armored foot. They get 1 die per 3 men, and a 6 will kill. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they will get 3 dice. And for armored foot versus light, they get 1 per man and a 4 kills. So that should be 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10. So they'll get 10 dice, and a 4 will kill. I'm going to set up the dice tray. Okay, so 10 blue dice for the yellow army, and 3 red dice for the green army. The red dice need 6s. They have 1. The blue dice need 4s. I'm going to take out all the low dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 blue casualties and 1 yellow casualty. And everyone gets a marker. That is 4 and 5. Now, this is going to be a slaughter because the armored infantry is such a large unit. I'm going to hit pause again and do the math. And yes, I promise this time I'll use a calculator and take my time. Okay, here's the math. Yellow has got 4 more casualties times the die roll of 5 is 20. They have more troops, so that's 26. And then 31 times 7 is 217. So that gives, and then the green side only has 20. So that is going to be a difference of 217 plus 26, 237, 243. So that is going to be an immediate surrender by the blue. And then, that being said, these light infantry can be brought into the battle, as well as these skirmishers from behind who can move around. So, we're going to move them. And so I'm going to move 4 of these guys around here. And these guys are going to go away because they surrendered. And then this light infantry has enough movement that they can come around here. And they do. That's a wheel. That wheel is very, yeah, we're going to call that 6 inches. So they can attack from the side. Now everybody gets, they get a fatigue counter. And so now we're going to fight again. And the armored infantry and then these guys can move up as well. Okay. So I'm going to roll for the armored infantry first. Now, they have 1 die per man versus the blue in the front, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they'll get 7 dice. 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're going to need 5s. I should have needed 5s last time, actually, for fatigue, but the difference in the numbers is so high it doesn't matter. However, we'll figure this out. So they need 5s. They get 2. So they're going to take out 2 here. On the flank, they're going to be heavy versus heavy because they're flanking. So they're going to bump up 1. And so heavy versus heavy is 1 to 1. So each of them will get 4 dice. So we're going to roll 4 red and 4 blue. And heavy versus heavy, they need 6s. Red has 1. And the blue, for the yellow, they have 3. So this will lose 3. And this will lose 1. Now, over here, we have light, which will count as heavy. That's actually going to be another. So this one has 10 now, so they're going to be down 2 for being fatigued twice. So they're going to count as light infantry now. So they'll get to fight with light foot versus heavy foot against the flankers. So they get 1 die per 2 men and a 6 kills. So they're just going to get 1 die. They do not get a 6. And the light foot on the side are going to count as heavy versus light, which will be 1 die per man, and a 5 or a 6 will kill. So they're going to get 3 dice, and a 5 or a 6. And they get 1. All right, so in that combat, they've lost 2. And they have lost 5. So it's time to do some more math. Okay, so here's the math. For the yellow side, they did 3 more wounds. So they roll a die, it's a 1, but they're at -2 for their fatigue, so that counts as nothing. There are 25 of them left. Normally they would multiply that by 7, but now they multiply it by 5. I'm sorry, 29 of them times 5, because they're -2 for their fatigue, so that's 145. So that gives them a total of 145 points. The green side, they outnumber the yellow by 1. Because they have 30. So they get 1 point for that. And then the 30 times 4 for the light. Light infantry. Is that right? Why do I keep second guessing myself? Yes. So times 4, 30 times 4 is 120. So their score is 121. So that means that the yellow side will win by only 24 points. And a 24-point difference, because we're not going to double it because they have more than 20 figures, is move back 1/2 move in good order. So the Lightfoot move is 9. We'll move them back 4.5 inches. And that is where that melee stands. Okay, now for the next one, this is going to be light infantry versus heavy infantry. It's not going to matter much. Light versus heavy, 1 die per 2 men, 6 kills. So the red ones get the blue dice, and they need a 6, and they don't get 1. Now the heavy infantry versus the light is 1 die per man, and a 5 or 6 kills, and that will be, so that'll be 2 dice, and they need 5s, and they get 1. All right, so 1 is killed. Now, for the morale check, the heavy infantry gets 7 points times 47, so that is going to be a complete smash of the skirmishers. So they are going to, they're just going to vanish, or they're going to surrender. They surrender, so they actually become prisoners. So they're going to go over here. So these are prisoners. These are casualties. Okay, so that's the end of that melee. Now here we have light infantry versus heavy horse. The light foot versus heavy horse. 1 die per 4 men. They only have 3 men in base, so they're not going to even get to roll. And then the heavy horse versus light foot is 4 dice per man and a 5 or a 6 kill. So that's going to be 12 dice for, they're going to, oh, okay. So 12 dice and they need 4s. Let's see if here, I don't know if I have 12 dice. 2, 5, 8, 10, 12. So 12 dice, I need 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 5. So 5 of them are going to be casualties. So we'll take off these 3 and these 2. All right. And let's check the rules for wrapping around. Okay, so here's the math. This unit did 5 wounds. They did 0, so they get 5 times 1, 5 points. There are 12 here versus 11. They get 1 more point for that. And then $12 times 9 is 108 for the heavy cavalry. Here we have 11 times 4 plus 1 for the superhero. So that will be 55. So that is a difference of 53. A difference of 53 means move back 1 move in good order. Now, we have to keep in mind that the cavalry were charging, and so they'll get to finish out their move. And they moved 6 inches while these guys moved 4. So that means that they have, I believe, because their charge is, heavy horse charge is 18. They moved 6, so they have 12 more inches they can move. The light infantry is going to move back 9, and then they're going to get caught again. So I'm going to pause the camera so I can move that and not be in your way. Okay, so this is what happened. The light infantry fell back 1 full move, 9 inches, and they are in good order. The heavy cavalry pursued them, and they had plenty of movement. I put them on the oblique so that they would crash into them fully, and that way they can use all of their figures. Now they are more than 3 inches away, because this has to get resolved before any movement or getting drawn in. So they are not going to be able to move into that combat. Also, I moved the hero up now because he would have been half and half, so that's there. And now everybody has their fatigue points, and so we're going to roll another melee. Light infantry versus heavy horse is 1 per 4. They're going to get 1 die. And then heavy horse versus light foot is 4. So that'll be 24 dice. Put that there. That's a 5. They need a no. They need a 6. So that's 0. Now I need 24 dice for here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We'll roll these twice. And they'll kill on a 5 or a 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 casualties so far. And then 5, 6, 7. 7 casualties in total. So that will be these 6 plus 1. And now we'll do the math again. All right, for the yellow, they had 7 more casualties times a die roll of 6 is 42. They have 8 more models on the board for 8, and 12 times 9 is 108 for a total of 142 points. The yellow or the green, they have 4 models left times 4 is 16. So that is going to be, I'm sorry, they have a yellow has 158 points, a difference of 142 points. So once again, we have more surrenders. I'll take that away. I'll take that away for the Guardians. And then we're going to throw down another fatigue marker. I'm going to take this away. And that will be the end of, that'll be the end of turn 7. So, there we are. Now, just to bear in mind, because this will affect orders, at the very beginning of turn 8, we'll need to measure, and anybody within charge range will have to check. Currently, there is no one within charge range. Also, this unit has 4 fatigue points, so whatever they do, they're going to be fatigued. Likewise, this heavy cavalry and this hero who's trying to get back merged with them. So they'll have to spend a turn rejoining, but they can lose their fatigue if they stay still while he does that. But I don't know if they're going to want to do that because they may need to turn around. So that's where we are with that. Obviously, also, likewise, no one is within 6 inches of this superhero. So we have that. I do anticipate there being something going on here. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and keep on gaming.